6 p.m. and I am opening the December 6, 2022 meeting of the Rutland
Oh my God!
Conservation
Did you
Commission.
just try to open a commission you're not even on?
No, the ad hoc bylaw committee.
Okay, I tried to.
Because I said that earlier today.
Ad hoc is a fun word, though.
Yeah.
All current members are present in the room, and yet we will still hold roll call votes. We are on Zoom, being recorded and broadcast live on television, and will be rebroadcast on television, put on the Rutland Community Television VOD site and YouTube. There.
Would you just make yourself a place card for this?
Most of the time I remember. Tonight's just not a good night for memory.
Melissa needs one.
Yeah, we need a lot of things.
Let us share. That was a good guess, because sometimes it doesn't share the thing I think it's sharing. Minutes. Oh, duh. Minutes for November 15th.
Motion to approve as written.
Second?
Discussion, corrections, additions. Roll call.
Clock eye.
Delaquilla, abstain.
Hello.
Langer and I.
Just Lucci.
Dan's eye.
Crane eye. I think I'm supposed to. All right, before we get into the meat of our agenda, I would like to discuss our next meeting. It is scheduled for December 20th. I will not be here. Many boards are taking their final meeting of the year off. I do not say we ought to, this commission ought to. I am asking what this commission would like to do for December 20, hold a meeting or not.
Question,
Yes.
the Harity certificates of compliance,
Uh-huh.
do you know if any of that is holding up bank financing or anything there?
I have no idea.
That we can do this evening. That doesn't have to.
It
attend next time.
depends.
Oh,
It
sorry.
depends.
Because if we're holding him up,
There's people living in there, so I would assume no.
well, there's three different ones.
There's people living in all three.
Okay,
Stalker.
so, all right, then it's just something that,
Then it's an administrative thing, it's nothing,
okay, we're not holding anybody up.
right.
Okay, fine.
I will not be here the 20th either, so
One more down and
I'll be
you won't
here.
have quorum. Hint.
Somebody
I
not be there?
will be here, but not in spirit. I don't know. Like, what do you want
There
the
you
answer
go.
from me
Maybe
to
you'll
be?
have had too many drinks. I mean, I don't know. Look, if you guys want to hold a meeting, I'm not saying, as I said, I'm not saying don't hold a meeting. I'm saying if you want to hold a meeting, I think it's okay. If you want to hold the meeting, feel free.
When we talk about the end of this one, see what we got pushing.
Okay, fair enough.
If
We
stuff
can
gets
certainly-
pushed, we
Yeah.
should be
Yeah.
touched, then we should touch it.
All right.
If we need to meet
If we
for
need
5
to-
minutes, then
right.
we'll do it.
Just because.
I'll
I
be
don't
here.
want to mess anybody up and have them wait that long. That's not right.
Okay. There are no submissions, and we don't have any other hearings outstanding.
Like the Grinch, my hat grew 3 times.
Jesus.
Go ahead.
Yes, it grew 3 times from 0 to 0. All right, certificates of compliance for Jim Harity, 150, 153, 155 Turkey Hill Road. These are all, well, we have as-built for all of them, but has anybody gone and visited the site?
I drive past it every day.
Aha! Because my concern might be too strong a word, but these are recent. These aren't things that we should just
Yep.
pro forma approve because we were requested to.
I think the only one that I wanted to check on was, and I don't know what number it is, but it's the one that's a little bit set back, where we just had the wetland crossing, where they, or not crossing, but infringed upon, where they just kind of spread some of their wood chips pretty far off to the side, and I just wanted to double check where that line was.
Is this one? That one? I'm trying to remember, because
No.
153 is up front.
Yep. 150.
Sorry, 51 is up
One is
front.
up
153 is
I
up
think
a
it's
little back.
53.
That one.
Yeah.
But if it's this one, I thought that, well, that's true.
It's
the
a little
wetlands are-
deceiving, but it is a little bit farther back. Because the house isn't where it was originally proposed, I think, from the as-built. Because the red line should be what was built.
Right, so it's
So it's a
proposed
little bit-
back here, so it's
No,
forward.
flipped. Nope, flip. Red line is what's
Oh,
there.
this,
That
oh,
was
oh,
the
that's the
Yeah, so
as-built,
house
that's the
is
as
further
planned.
back.
Yep.
Okay.
Looks like the septic didn't move. That's kind of good news overall.
Where did the wood chips go?
They're just like on the side of the driveway.
Oh,
Okay.
up in here,
Yeah.
okay.
I think there's enough room, but they were spread farther than I remember them being during construction because they were chipping there and they did spread them out for erosion. But I think when they took the silt fence off, they probably just spread it because it was, mounted a little bit.
And actually, if I can shoot up to 155 for a second.
Yeah, that was the only one that was weird because it's not a red lined.
That's exactly what I was thinking. This doesn't look, it does say septic as built,
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
and it does call it an existing house, but there's no,
There's no token
Delta.
driveway or anything.
oh, very true.
Just the septic.
Yeah. So that it should conform to like what the other ones look like.
Yeah. All right, so let's start with 151. Since you drive past it and you see it, any questions or concerns about 151?
I don't.
Anyone want to go see this one? Or our alternatives are to grant the COC or wait until we look at them.
Well, if we're gonna look at one, for sure, maybe we should look at all of them.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm inclined to look at them first.
Again, if there's no
Okay.
repercussions as far as,
If not
not
putting
doing
up the
anybody
bank,
any
we're not letting
harm,
somebody
Yeah.
buy,
Yeah.
it's
we're
not gonna
doing
kill
that.
us to wait.
All right. So then we will take no action on these three
But
without a
ask-
formal vote. What's that?
But ask for an updated as-built.
Yes, we'll get for
Yeah,
155.
155.
And actually, Tamika, I forget, for 139 Turkey Hill is the one in the corner at the bottom of Irish. I'm not sure if that was Jim as well, but there is some erosion that's coming from the front step area, going over the driveway and going over the silt fence, like right into that fire pond. So they should take a look at that.
Mhm.
That's a different address though, isn't it?
139, yeah.
Right, that's not this. She's
That's-
not saying for this.
Wasn't, that's a that's a house that was already
No,
there, wasn't
no.
it?
No, that's a new one.
Brand new house.
Yeah, it's brand new.
Oh, okay.
Nope.
Oh, it's not?
Nope.
Okay, that
Yeah,
was
I can, it has the DEP sign.
Because the ones all at the
Oh, okay.
corners there were all L-bag, way back.
There's been nothing there. There's only one existing house where Rutland septic was.
Hmm.
That was it there.
Maybe I'm at the wrong
You're on the
corner.
wrong end.
Okay.
Okay. I can look that up in the file.
It's 139, I know at least, but I'll check what the sign says.
Okay.
So do we want to schedule a group or just have individuals go out?
139.
So I'm
You're-
thinking, beginning to think we ought to go out as a group.
Couldn't hurt.
It's nice because there's a bunch of them right there, so
Yeah,
you can
they're
literally
all
just
together.
walk down
Yeah.
the street.
Get them all real quick.
And not even just these ones, but the open ones as well. There's the one that's a little bit further back, that's between, I think, 150, must be 157, that I didn't get to check this weekend, but it looks like might need some erosion repair, erosion control repair.
Oh. Well, we'll take a look at that too. Then we'll go look at 139 while we're at it, because we're there.
It's 139, I feel bad, because it's just, I think they couldn't get enough grass by the stairs. And so it's just the perfect slope and dip where it catches in the corner of the driveway.
When should we go?
You always go Saturday at 10.
That's our normal.
The Saturday at 10? I can do that. Pretty sure.
Saturday at 10?
I can just do these.
Eh. I don't think we need the developer, but it'd be good to notify him and to notify the current landowners. Good. Alrighty.
We start at 139 and just work our way.
Yeah, parking the pull off on the other side, yeah.
Mm.
Request to extend order of conditions for ZPT Energy Solutions. So the solar folks, if I could summarize the email, National Grid is dicking around and waiting a long time to finish their studies. And National Grid have said they expect to be done in early 2023, but some of the conditions that we did for solar farms are expiring. So they are asking for, I'm just going to scroll
So
to the
which-
bottom.
Which project is this?
Yeah,
A bunch of them.
there's a
Oh,
bunch of, there's all those
Yeah,
ZPT
there's,
ones there,
Glenwood
0 point
Road.
energy.
Right.
oh,
Wachusett Street, Campbell Street.
Actually, is it written here somewhere?
I have,
think
well,
Teddy
I have
Mahans
all
is
the
one
order
of
of
them.
conditions listed
It is
in the
mine.
file.
Oh, that's true, and I have.
So mine.
Yours isn't ZPT, is it?
No. And his isn't either.
So,
Oh,
Campbell Street, East County Road, Glenwood Road, another Glenwood Road, Glenwood Place, Bushy Lane, East County, and Glenwood Place
Oh, that's
Extension.
Up the street there, the field.
I can certainly pull up the original orders that I have right here, if somebody wants to see them. This is,
Well, we walked all of them.
we have walked every one of these damn things.
How long ago were the original orders?
2018.
Original permit, expirations were 2021, so they were all 2018.
2018, okay.
Yep, and
Yeah, we
then-
had a lot right in a row.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
and
what-
this time last year, it was actually this meeting 1 year ago, you guys acknowledged the extension for the COVID tolling,
mhm.
Oh, yeah.
which pushed them out to these new expiration
I would give it
dates.
one, just do a 1 year. To
They
let them see if
requested
they,
2, but
Yeah, but I
No,
don't know if
the
1
the
year's
reason
gonna be
2
enough.
makes sense is that it's not only lead time for National Grid, it's lead time to get the equipment that they
Yeah.
need to finish the project.
Yeah, so you're
no,
gonna
no,
wanna
the
go,
only reason I say a year is, you know what, is that they do them or they don't do them. If they can come, they can ask for the second year.
I don't
They've
know.
had 5 years as far as this goes. 1 year, guess what? They're permitting in place, and they can come. Hey, we're actually doing it, and we're doing it. Otherwise, you kind of leave it too big of an open book.
Yeah, but you're not substantially changing anything.
No, there's another side to
Yeah,
this.
that's why the 2 years.
The upgrade to the Treasure Valley substation. So it's National Grid needs to do their study to know, and then do their upgrades, which are the only thing that enable the actual solar fields. Now, why they would all go to Treasure Valley? I don't know.
No, I think that's just Grid using it as an excuse.
Yeah, that's probably. So Grid is saying it's 9 to 12 months to do the upgrade.
Right.
So that's a year by itself.
Yeah,
And then a year for
That's just 9 to 12 months for them to order once they order it.
To get it, yeah,
Yeah.
it's taken a long time.
So they're coming back for an extension, anyways.
We might as well just do 2
Yeah,
years,
but-
to be honest.
They're looking for 2-point-something million to go from 199 Glenwood back. Never mind
Yep.
across 68 and up on top of the hill.
Yep.
And that's where mine stands. And they just don't have the money.
I'm
I don't know if they
personally
don't
okay
have
with
the
2
money,
years.
I am too. The reason
because that's all part of the green stuff.
Oh, I know it. And this is what they tell me.
Yeah,
Yeah, just do it 2 years then.
All right.
what are we doing, 2 years?
Move to extend the order
What's that?
conditions as listed by ZPT for 2 years.
Second.
What was your question, Joe? I'm sorry.
No, I just asked the question if it was 2 years that we were doing.
Yes.
Yes.
So we're doing it for 2. Other discussion? Roll call.
Dan's eye.
Gentilucci, aye.
Clock eye.
Langer and I.
Elk eye.
Crane eye. Okay.
So we'll update that chart for the expiration dates.
You know, that was
So
their
becomes a-
chart, but we
Well,
can
so
do
that
it.
way there it becomes a
It'll
tickler.
state it on the permit that I issued, the
Right.
expiration date.
Alrighty. So let's talk briefly about the joint meeting with the select board. I know Tamika sent it up, but I'm gonna say it here. Our joint meeting is the first meeting in January, which is,
4.
I know you know, 3, she was right. Is January 3. It must be public session because there's no legal reason to make it executive session. Between now and then, I'd like to get some topics for discussion from the entire commission. We can do this in email because this is topics. It's not a violation of open meeting law for everybody to talk to everybody because we're just talking about agenda items. We're not talking about the content of them. So let's start getting our questions, comments together.
You can talk to yourself, Skip.
Yeah, I
So
can.
Skip, email yourself.
Yep.
What's the overall, excuse me, what's the overall purpose of the meeting in the first place?
Go ahead.
It's communications between all boards, and we went to the easiest ones first.
Oh, the most fun one first.
Yeah, easiest, fun, whichever way you want to put it. Tamika knows where I'm coming from.
See, we're fortunate, we have a selectman on our board.
Mm-hmm. That is true.
All right, there was a time not that long ago when they used to assign selectmen to
liaison.
various boards,
Yeah.
and we never used to see them.
That's because you had such a nice person on that was supposed to come.
So, some questions that the select board are going to be looking for from us include, what do we need from them that we're not getting from them?
Money. That's all I got.
Understatement of the year.
Well, no, just so you don't run with that thought too far.
That's mostly not their control.
Mostly that's us, or that was this board deciding not to ask for funding, and in fact reducing our dependence on funding at the time, all right, because there were no longer-term plans in place and nothing really in development. So there was no justification to give the select board to fund this
Good.
commission any above what they were, all right? And at the time, it was not really necessarily a great time to be asking for funding.
Yeah, well, we can
So we were the nice guys,
Yeah.
so to speak,
Now we're not.
all right, and didn't give them any hard times, didn't give them grief and aggravation. Just that, in deference to the select board, it isn't like they shut us off.
Yeah, no, yeah.
That, I just,
No, but we will be looking for their support
Yeah.
when we get to the agent.
right,
And that's going to be both support for the position and financial support for the position.
Yep.
Dollar
That's,
signs.
yeah, that's part of it. So,
Upgrading our clerk.
there ain't,
Yeah, you're
The
gonna
other
need to
thing,
be
too-
doing that pretty soon, too. She's not gonna be with us for a long time, you know.
oh, I know. But I didn't want to think about that, so I'm not.
She's not leaving.
Melissa, do you know of any grants or anything that?
For staff salary, no.
Okay.
It's really, all grants are really project dependent.
We'll call it a project. It's
Anyway.
whatever the title
Really,
is,
really
like-
long-term project.
Yeah,
And by the way, I expect to hear the same question or an answer to that question back from them. What do they expect from us that we haven't been giving them? I think that that is reasonable for us to all understand.
What are we doing wrong? Yep.
Even though this is in public session, I know the people on this board and I know me, so I don't have a problem saying we should be ready to speak very openly and very honestly with the select board about any issues, good or bad.
I should probably go on vacation.
Now, I
Wait,
may,
is Scott a bad thing? Can I talk about him?
You're stuck with me.
I may have a timeout
Can I have a
flag.
coup? This is a serious question.
You want this position?
No, I don't, not that
Have it.
coup. I want
Oh.
that coup.
Oh.
No,
All
I'm
right.
good on that one.
So, January 3, let's start discussing what we want to discuss with them. Anything else on that before we move on? Okay.
It's going to be just here in our meeting.
Yes, they will be very first in our meeting on January 3.
Cool.
And it will take as long as it takes for us to go through whatever our
We're gonna get
submissions.
you a special chair in the middle. It has a
Let it
special.
sit
We've
up.
talked about that.
It has a
That
hat.
special hat is
Kinda
comical.
coned.
Yeah,
It's kind of
I'm in the corner.
Don't get me thinking too much about that.
See, with this appointment of boards,
Yes.
they should be coming to our board, this board, conservation, before they go to the select board. My opinion.
I absolutely concur, and that is the policy that I sent to the select board 2 years ago.
Oh, for people who want to be appointed?
For
Yeah.
anybody who wants to
Somebody
be
that wants to be
appointed,
Yeah.
anybody who wants to be
If you
appointed
remember,
should go
if-
to whatever committee they want to be on to watch a meeting. At
Okay.
least one.
But you know what it went
Came to one.
through a few years back.
Oh, yeah.
So-
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Peter was,
No, that
he was
was a whole-
intimately
Oh, that
Uh-huh.
was-
involved
you were
in
the
that.
bad person.
Yeah,
That's
you
right.
were, and you lost a good member with some of that.
And then who else?
Yep.
Sean.
Yep.
Was there another one?
What's that?
Who was the other person when Jared? It was Sean?
Eric.
Eric? Oh, it was you.
That's right, you were up for reappointment, right?
Yeah.
You got Sean's seat, and I got
Yeah.
reappointed.
But then
Yeah.
Kevin. No, there was someone else. Was it Kevin Jarvie?
Kevin wanted to be, but there were only 2 seats.
Yeah.
That's
Okay. So okay.
But then what happened with Eric? Did his term just expire?
Yeah.
With,
Eric Bigelow?
Yeah.
And I think he moved out of town.
Yeah.
Got divorced.
we're not sure. We never heard. Yeah. Well,
That process definitely could have been better,
Yeah.
because I had no clue about.
You were thrown into the fire. You're
Yeah.
like,
Yep.
Yep.
sorry.
All of a sudden, my coworker was like, "Oh, there's an article in the paper about you." I was like, "Wait, what?" Like, oh boy, what am I getting myself into?
The thing was, we didn't even know who you were.
I didn't know you guys either.
Yeah.
I was like,
No.
no, I would have come to a meeting. I
aren't you
didn't-
glad that we're fun and,
I'm
and a
very
horrible
glad.
board to be on?
And we're so glad to have Jared. He was a great
Yeah.
I didn't run away.
And we're glad you didn't.
Moving on, wetland violation on Barre Paxton Road. This is the Lucier lot, right?
Mhm.
No?
No, this is the one that Melissa brought up. at the
Oh,
last
that you
meeting.
brought up.
Mhm. Mhm. And Scott had thought there was a forest cutting plan, but as it turns out, there is not.
Okay.
So,
Do you
I
know
haven't
which
even looked at this.
addresses?
I did.
What number is that?
It's
you know?
not a number.
I did
Yeah,
send
it's
a letter
unnumbered.
to the property owner.
Are you the property owner?
I'm the
Oh,
property
there you
owner.
go.
Oh, hi.
Oh,
You
perfect.
requested me to be here.
I did. Thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it. Thanks for making time tonight for meeting.
Could you identify yourself?
Sorry,
Could you,
Evan Sawyer. I'm of 31 Pequot Trail, but this lot number would be 215, 213 Barre Paxton. Sorry,
Okay.
I have a
Oh, that's
family member who is sick, so I'm gonna keep this on just
Yep, so
for you all's sake.
I've been down on your property
Oh,
with you.
Yes, you came down on a different property that I have over
Yes.
towards the lands.
Okay.
Yeah.
13A what?
I have no idea.
It was down there 5. 3.
It's down,
There's also
it's
Fox
right at the
Road.
edge of Pleasantdale. It's the next property next to Carcraft. On the same side, kind of directly across from Rutland Storage.
Waiting to paint.
That's it.
Yep.
Well, it looks ugly in that shading.
That's the wetlands.
Yeah, I was trying to be funny.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It what surprises me is
so-
it's stuck. I don't. Oh,
It goes
there's the
under-
connect.
yeah.
No, that's not a
No, it goes
connection.
under the road.
Well, so there's a
Oh,
couple
oh,
of culverts that come from that drain a wetland on the opposing side of the road.
Yes.
Between, there's a residential property and then there's the Rutland self-storage.
Mhm.
And there's a wetlands there and it drains a culvert onto this property in question. And then there's another culvert further up and there's a small stream that's kind of buried under the Carcraft property and that eventually makes its exit towards the rear of the parcel in question.
All right. So, Melissa, why don't you start very briefly to remind us where we are and what we're doing.
Well, I think maybe if you could just do an overview of kind of what you've been doing on the property. So from our point of view, you know, it looks like maybe there's been some tree clearing, maybe Phil brought in, there's definitely like a road that's kind of going through. So our concern is there could have been wetland fill or definitely within the 100-foot buffer zone, which would have required permitting.
Yeah.
So if you could just maybe talk about what you've been doing there.
Yeah, so this lot is, it's definitely obviously got some wet areas on it, but it's connected unfortunately by culverts to some of the opposing wetlands on the other side of the road that
Mhm.
definitely seem to be wetlands just from my mark of it. And you can see there's sort of a narrow strip there at the edge of the road on the right-hand side of the property, that the whole area there to the edge of the wetland is probably just over 100 feet. You can see that's probably represents 250, the whole frontage.
Right.
And that area was basically filled at some point before I bought the property. It looks to me to be some sort of a spoil pile, something like that, a cleared area that had to do just from the kind of the age of the material, from something to do with building the road, I would guess. And it's just sort of a small flat area.
Is this Pleasantdale?
So yeah, that's Pleasantdale there, and the other side.
So this is
That's Carcraft. That's
Right.
the
right.
food
Car-
truck.
Yes,
Yeah.
crap.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember the
Cracked. Jeez. Cracked.
The food truck everybody likes.
Yeah.
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 And so obviously that one's got a stream right at the rear of it also that at some point MassDOT culverted, has done some different things too as well. In any event, so that area was, you know, basically a spoil pile when I bought it. It was a small cleared area. It looked like it had been used somewhat recently, but not kind of in present memory. I think maybe the last time it was used was like as a small overflow parking area for the little car place across the street.
Mhm.
So when I bought it, it was definitely overgrown, and basically I kind of took some of that overgrowth down and I smoothed it off and tried to take that area that probably by today's standards it shouldn't have been, you know, maybe the way it was, but it was kind of filled long before my present ownership of it, and you know, at some point in the far history of the property. So I definitely kind of used that area, and that was unfortunately the property's almost 3 acres, but obviously there isn't a whole lot there to, you know, in terms of frontage to work with. So that access was an opportunity just to kind of get onto the property. And there's a, you know, obviously kind of that picture I think is semi-accurate. And does show that it sort of widens as you go. And so I've kind of hugged the edge of that right side property line, and then in that area where it bellies out, right where it says 2.86 acres, I have a small, I wouldn't say clearing, but I've kind of just put a little area in there as well. And I don't know, you know, what may have happened, what channels this came to, if it was the board who saw it or a neighbor, but there definitely is some wood on the property, but most of it, I would say, 95% of it doesn't come from the property. I'm renting to somebody who's in the wood business, and he's using it to make cordwood. So it was transported onto the site. So in terms of what actually has come down from trees on the site, it certainly wasn't anything that warranted a cutting plan. It was a pretty modest number of trees, and I do have some picture documentation of that. But like I said, it was being used at some point in the, you know, certainly when I was maybe in my childhood. So I wasn't taking anything major down, just basically opening it up. And in terms of fill, the only thing that, because it was kind of basically a spoils pile and all the edges of it were all mounded up. So I've left mature trees around the edge because you can see that it is pretty proximal to, you know, what you could say is a wet area at times of the year. I would argue that it's because there's a culvert that comes from the road that drains a wetland on the other side, but
That's
that's a
the
different.
definition of a connection.
Yeah, yeah.
Actually, but yeah.
It is, yeah, it is in a way, it's connected, but there's what I found in this property is barbed wire and what remnants of it looking like the edge of the pasture, which seems to be, which seems to follow with what I know of the title history of it. So basically I was, the access to it is on that right side, it comes in and trying to use a little area in the back that at present is being rented to a very small local tree company who's doing some cordwood out of there.
So
Long-term, what do you expect to do?
So that back area is the only thing that represents any dry, in terms of perkable space. I'm going to try to see, take it at
You're
once.
talking,
Yeah,
Yes.
kind of down in that bellied area, exactly. I don't know, I'm of limited means and I don't know what I'll be doing with it, but I was basically trying to get into this drier space. It's off the road, it's away from everybody. Unfortunately, there's a condo complex right there and this is kind of right adjacent to them.
this is Fox Run right
Yeah,
here,
this
right?
is Fox Run right there, right next to us. But yeah, that was the goal is I have a couple of storage containers over there and I've been using it for storage. I have my piece of equipment, that's my personal excavator, which is a kind of a small mini excavator. And then the tree company has his bucket truck. So in terms of heavy equipment, it was, kind of 2 machines, sometimes a dump truck at most. All of which, the two trucks were registered, obviously. And in terms, like I said, of fill, it was a spoils pile. So what I did is I never pushed any of that material forward. I always sort of, kind of flattened the area out with it. And I left the mature trees at the edge of, what was formerly filled at one point. And like I said,
So where was the fill located on this?
it's all the way sort of at the narrowest portion there of that, what is the defined wetland, kind of.
Oh, it's over
on
here?
this. No, all the way, I'm sorry, at the narrowest portion of what would be dry. So
Oh,
all the
I
way up
see.
at the top right.
So what's up here?
Exactly. If were it not for that having been filled some point in the past, this might have been, this lowland might all have been wet. But it was filled a long time ago, and that was my real only advantage to being able to get in and get to the dry land was that somebody had already done it.
Yeah.
So I took some photographs from what I could get at GIS, and it's about 100 feet right there
Well.
from what it's shown, but
Well,
you know.
I'll give you a real truth here. That's 60 something. Okay. Are those wetlands? We don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
Um,
I know
the
that
DEP took aerial photos and from there did their
Right.
analysis and said, we think that's a wetland. So it's something that we pay attention to, that when somebody does something close to it that we actually pay a lot of attention to.
Well, my explanation is I had somebody, a professional, come and walk the site with me and explain to me, his professional point of view. I don't aim to be, as knowledgeable as a professional in this. And I had him do a site walk with me, and we basically let the trees and the foliage kind of point us in the direction of what is and isn't wet there. And there's a lot of upland, varieties at the back. There's a lot of pine and sort of big stands. And that's basically the area in which we're sort of using it. And when I say using it, it's on a very limited basis. There's one truck and a wood splitter there right now. But yeah, I mean, arguably there's, I would guess, right around 10 cord, but it's all to make firewood and it didn't come from the site. I have kept the stumps. I didn't, the few that I did take out, I've kept on the edge and have not been buried, so I can kind of count them and show them to you, sort of thing.
Yeah, so my concern, so I just driving past, noticed that there was a change. And so our jurisdiction extends from whatever the edge of the wetland is to 100 feet out. So a lot of your property would be within our jurisdiction. So any alteration of that, what we call buffer zone, or that 100 feet, does require some sort of permitting, and that does include the clearing of brush and trees. Especially grading, while you may have been using that existing pile just to kind of spread it out, we're concerned about erosion. If there's like a steep cliff or kind of berm that the rainstorms we've been having, it's kind of been freezing, thawing, etc. And also just the use, and something that used to just be wooded is now kind of like a dirt gravel road, ensuring that, that isn't impacting the wetland resources as well. So I don't know what the commission feels, but I think there some sort, whether it's an after the fact application or something, should be filed for this.
Well, and I, to clarify also, I bought the property in 2017, so this has been over, a multi-year process. It's not like, 10 trees came down at once. They've been, I would say, 10 trees over, 5 years.
Well, I think
So-
the cut through was pretty.
Yeah, this year
Fast.
I opened up that inside edge, but really, it was because there was a bit of a buffer up by the road that I finally took out. You can kind of see it. It's so narrow and so perpendicular. It's easy. I miss it all the time driving by it. But I took out the few trees at the front, and it was a little bit more apparent because it's just now kind of a straight shot down that that edge. But yeah, I mean. My judgment on it is it's a 3-acre lot, and I think that wetlands there, as you were saying, is definitely overrepresented. There's a stream, to that edge over there, but there are school buses parked in it, and like 30 of them. So I have one excavator and a guy doing cordwood, and I just don't see it as remotely near, what some of the other properties are in terms of proximity to true wetlands. The stream that we're talking about originates on the property, in question, to the left of me. And the buffer zone in terms of all that foliage that's represented is way on my property to the right. So I certainly acknowledge that I'm being careful and cautious about it, but I just want to point out that I think it's overrepresented as to what's there, to some degree, and that I think if we're, being honest about it, I'm parking the equipment as far as I can get it away. It's 100 feet, away from what's shown there, and I think, like I said, that's being generous. And there are 20 school buses, not a stone's
I'm
throw
not
away.
necessarily worried about the equipment. It's just the activity
Yeah.
in general to do the clearing is what should have required the permit.
Yeah, absolutely, and I'm happy to work on that going forward. I just, it's been such a slow rolling process. I'm not doing anything particular with it, so I didn't know that it was important. It's just been a tree here or there. I didn't know I needed a permit for that.
You're almost looking just to look at it and see
Yeah.
how far away is it.
Yeah.
It's kind of one of those. Basically, what the easiest for this is, because again, these maps overrepresent a lot.
Yeah.
So this lot could be taken care of with. Everybody walks down and we go, okay, hey, that looks good. This look, and if you're outside 100 feet on it all, don't worry.
Yeah.
But again, it's going to take a physical walk
Yeah.
with people from the board to actually tell you that.
Yeah.
Or if there's an issue, or say it's okay. Well, guess what? Now you know.
Well, I mean, at this point, with what you have asked and questioned, I'm not kind of in terms of it. There's not much that's changing at this point. I kind of opened up that access in that area there with the 2.8 scissors. Like I said, he's doing a small amount of cordwood
Right.
there. But going forward, I don't perceive any changes in the near future other than
But this is, I mean, again, but if you let us do a site walk on it,
yeah. Totally
that's gonna alleviate past, present, and future issues. Because then you also know what you can.
Yeah, and I mean, to me, it's a question that I'd like to have resolved too, because I know that it was filled, at some point in the past, and it just is what it is with certain things that are grandfathered like that. That it's nice for us all to have some clarity on it.
Right. So it's not.
Yeah.
Nobody's looking to
Yeah.
get you.
Yeah.
I mean, we
Well,
did.
maybe not you. I haven't decided yet.
I mean, what was it, last year before, we did stuff right up the street from you. So,
Yeah.
and same thing.
Yeah.
And we
It-
did talk about the school buses because they were graded.
Right. And
Yeah, I mean, it's.
did have a
and I'm
violation.
I'm sorry. That seemed like I was pointing fingers.
Yeah.
It's
Oh,
just-
no.
It's just it's a commercial area and there's a limited amount of that in the town,
Right.
and it's like I'm not trying to at this point it's a one-man operation with a
Right.
splitter.
Right.
It's just-
It's not, we're not trying to be egregious over there.
Yeah, but you also need to follow state laws,
Yeah.
so just kind of keep that in mind.
Yeah, absolutely.
And tree removal
Mhm.
is an alteration under the Wetland Protection Act, even if it is minor. We have two varying kinds of permits. They're not really that intensive. So if it is an after the fact, it's not necessarily a heavy
It's
pull.
paper. It's
Yeah.
signing some paperwork.
Yeah.
Nothing.
But it is, something I think we should go put our eyes on and
Sure.
discuss.
I agree.
You guys want to do it Saturday?
I was going to say, do it Saturdays.
It's right up the street from where you guys are.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm in state or not. Sorry.
Yeah, it's right down the road from Turkey Hill if you're
Yeah.
gonna be there already.
Yeah, as
It-
long, if you wanna be there, or if you don't mind us just going afterwards, but we can definitely,
I think I tried to do it with him.
yeah.
Yeah, sure, absolutely.
Steal some of that fancy blue tape from work.
Huh?
Steal some fancy blue tape.
Yeah.
No, honestly.
Yeah.
It's one of those they're gonna walk, they can say here, here, here,
Yeah,
here,
yeah, yeah, absolutely.
and give you a better idea. I mean, it's
Yeah.
a rough, it's not or whatever, but
Yeah.
that gives you a much better idea.
Yeah, and I mean, it's, you know, it's definitely got lowland areas, and
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
it is what it is, but there's lots of, it's all upland trees, so I've tried to let the nature guide me on it, you know?
That's it.
But it's definitely, I've been, tried to be, you know, I didn't realize that
Yeah.
a couple of trees here or there warranted a permit, so I apologize about that.
Oh, yeah.
But, you know, the number of stumps that you'll see, I think, are obviously pretty indicative of what was and wasn't there.
News just
Oh, yeah. It's
Yeah, yeah, thank you.
It shouldn't be a
Yeah,
very big deal.
No.
It should mostly be us learn a little more about the site, figure out the paperwork, get that done, and you're aware for the future. Really, it's, as far as I'm concerned, I think that's where we are.
Yeah.
Unless we discover something that we really don't like on that walk, which is possible. I just don't know what it would
The
be.
spotted mount salamanders went to sleep. It's fine. It's cold out.
Well, you know, as long as he didn't push the big pile of fill,
Over.
the spoils, into the wetland,
Right.
then
Right.
there isn't that much that would
Yeah.
likely.
So-
Yeah, and I mean, it wasn't,
So-
we're not talking spoil piles, we're talking berms along the edge sort of
Yeah.
thing, and, you know. It's obviously, you know, there's definitely caveats to working on that site.
Yeah. But you've
But-
dealt with us in the past, so you
Yeah,
know we're not-
been aware of
we're
it,
not hard to
I
get
try to
along.
be reprised to the right thing to do, so I
Yep.
appreciate it.
Do we want to start here on Saturday?
That might be better.
Yeah, start here, then go to Turkey, 'cause
Yeah.
Turkey
Yeah,
should be
since-
fast.
So
Yeah.
we be there, so you have an actual time,
Yeah,
we'll
what
be there
time
at
would you
That's what I
10.
was thinking, yeah.
Yeah.
Does that
Good.
work for you?
What time would you
10.
guys?
10 o'clock?
10 here?
No,
Ten
or
at
there.
the
10
site.
there, yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely, absolutely.
That's a good point.
Do you have a parking lot or a
It's,
driveway first?
yeah,
or driveway?
like I said, the only fill I have brought in is some millings just to smooth the place off, so there's a millings, you know, kind of
So we
limited
can pull
area right off the road right there that you'll be able
Okay.
to see.
Thank you.
Great, there we go.
Yeah. Just be cautious not to hit each other because it's, you know, single
Meh.
file.
It's tight.
Again, I make no guarantees. All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you for
Appreciate you
coming
guys'
in.
time very much.
And way.
Don't get too wet outside.
And I was hoping to be on the board at some point, and now I have to show up to more meetings, but is that vacancy still open?
Yeah.
There is a vacancy
Yes.
on this board still.
So write us a letter.
Yeah, all right.
Write us a letter.
What do you do for RH White?
I do project management, but in the wastewater and water field, so mostly just building pipes, big pipes.
Oh, so you didn't get involved with the gas lines?
Thankfully, no. No, we didn't have to clean up after that one either.
Good.
So if you do decide you're interested in the board, I would suggest to sit through a complete meeting or two to see sort of the breadth of in our entire process.
If you can put up with Scott.
Yeah, that's a good sign. Of course, the problem is this is only a
My
6-seat
my sister
table.
doesn't like me.
Question is, am I another Scott?
There you go.
Gotta keep it lively.
He's hired.
Sorry, you're locked
Yeah, if
in
you've
now.
been from Rutland long enough, it's just a certain crowd, isn't it?
Careful what you wish for.
Alrighty.
If I could interject for a moment as well, I'm Evan's partner.
Oh.
I've known him for more than 5 years, and
We're sorry.
he went to school for environmental engineering and sustainability. One of his big passions is keeping the environment safe and making sure all of his projects are sustainable. So everything he's done on that, he's been very, very diligent about making sure he's not interfering with anything in the environment. So I just want to go ahead and say that he's very competent, and I don't think that you'll have anything to worry about on Saturday.
Deanna, did we meet you
That's
at-
it. You're supposed to know better.
Yeah,
You're in
honestly,
trouble now.
honestly.
Yeah.
Not enough to pull permits. Not smart enough to do that, but evidently.
Deanna, did some of the board commission members meet you at a project? God, where the hell was it? Where they were putting up a garage in the back.
No, are you thinking of Tracy Sharkey?
Maybe.
Oh.
Anything's possible.
I think you're thinking
I
of
said-
I know which one you're talking about.
Yeah,
I think you're
Tracy,
right.
yeah.
Okay. Nope, I guess not, sorry.
She's a Boylston transplant, so
Yes.
it means no harm.
She means more.
We'll try not to hold
I
that.
would-
Yeah, right. We let her over
I
the
was
side.
involved in Girl Scouts for a very long time with Boylston, so if you know any of the projects that happened over there, I was probably tangentially involved with anything over in Boylston.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much,
All right,
guys.
thank you
Appreciate
so
it.
much.
Have a nice evening.
You too.
You too.
Our
That's
next
the
meeting
last
would be
one,
a
right?
good one for them to come
Oh,
to.
nope, there was one more. I should
The
have
one
stepped
we're
out in
not
the middle.
having.
No.
Or the select board one.
The select board one.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, that is actually a very good point.
Yeah, if you could make that one, that
Just to
next one in
observe.
January
Yeah,
3rd,
January 3.
January 3.
just sit in the back and don't say a word.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
Just be a fly on
keep
That's
your
hard
mask
for me,
on
but
so you
I
don't
can do
die
my
of laughter.
best.
Yeah. You can decide if you really want to join or not.
Yeah, wait till we finish complaining to the select board and they complain
Well, it
to
sounds
us.
like she already sold me, so.
You're sorry you're locked in.
Alrighty, department head and board and commission training. So,
That's yours being trained, not us.
oh no, no,
It's
no,
for
no,
you.
you didn't pay attention to Gary's answer when I asked this exact
I
question.
didn't see it.
It was everybody on the board, not just the chairs.
Training for what?
For what?
For what? Why? I'm so glad you asked.
Communications.
I'm very good with sign language. I know one word.
I
No.
don't know exactly why Gary thinks everybody has to have manager's training.
So not all of the training is, I'm sorry if I may, not all of
Please.
the training is specifically managerial. That's geared more towards the department heads. There's some other training offered through Maya that he would like to see board and commission members participate in.
You had me at offer.
Managing.
So yes, it cannot be mandated that
Managing.
commission members and board members participate. But there's just been a lot of
Managing. I think this
disconnection
whole is.
lately and disjointedness between
Mm-hmm.
sometimes members even of the same board. And so he's just trying to get everybody back to a more cohesive unit.
That one applies to everybody. Dealing with stress, developing. Yeah.
Melissa has to get Scott off the board and the stress.
I think I thought you just was not complaining against me.
Maybe I didn't.
That's okay.
Maybe there's more.
I can't wait to introduce myself as the equal opportunity asshole. So I hate everybody. That's how
So
I
we've
would
already-
introduce myself. I have to take inclusion and
Diversity.
belonging training
Belonging.
Tomorrow?
at work.
Oh, I have one from Maya tomorrow.
No. At work is dictated that everybody has to take 2.5 hours out of our lives for something that's not even self-paced. It's actually instructor-led, and you have to do
Oh yeah. A lot of ones I
touchy-feely ones.
a lot of ones I took at work. You had to wait till the end to answer questions.
No. This is instructor-led. This is
Oh,
this is
live.
interactive.
Oh.
This is
I'll
yeah.
borrow my glasses with the eyes in.
I haven't signed up for any of the classes yet. Huh. But then again, I'm on vacation. So anyway, there's training that some of it, as Tamika said, is really for department chairs, all the ones about managing people, managing money,
Hey, Melissa.
managing organization and goals,
Took
and
the last
all
one.
of that stuff that managers need to be good at.
Yes.
And
One of the trainings is about not interrupting the class when the chair's speaking.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Look at the last one. It's that just fits perfectly.
With assertiveness, without causing distress to others. I'm sorry, I
That's
don't know
what
how to.
I excel
Wait,
at
but
that.
who's
But that's where the
I'm
stress
the
level
distressed
comes
one,
in.
right? Just want to clarify.
I excel.
Building
Beta
sustained
There's no
relationships
stress.
that assist in achieving high performance and success. Oh, I don't have a problem reading enemies. Problem solving, an open mind that is able to think differently.
We
Isn't that
do.
IBM?
We do very well with that. We think
Yeah,
outside the box a lot.
We like to rebuild the box in a different shape somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
Anywho,
We're included in that only because you can't exclude anybody.
Hey,
Tamika, would you be able to just send us the list of what's available, like what the,
So we're actually still in communication
Okay.
with Maya right now to get that final list of what's available. So once it is, we'll definitely share that with everybody.
I'm assuming also because we probably get a discount if we take them, so, on our insurance.
That too. But that was not the motivation, I promise.
You can, if you take trainings through Maya, our insurance, you can get discounts for
Yeah,
our
big-
premium.
big discounts. on
Yeah,
insurance.
huge.
Oh, yeah?
What type of insurance?
Town.
The
Town
town
insurance.
Insuring
has
the-
My
liability
taxes gonna go
insurance.
down? No, I don't care.
Yeah,
Maybe
keep
they
it
could.
from-
I don't
keep it
know.
from going
But
up
maybe
a little
we'll
bit.
have more money to spend on
Yeah.
apartments instead of insurance.
Like,
Concom agent?
yeah,
Hmm.
like towns save upwards of 50 grand even on
Wow.
insurance premiums.
Oh.
Yeah. Or two.
I have one tomorrow.
Before wetland bylaw and regulations, yes, it's 12 till.
It's 10 till.
You're right, that clock is slow, I'm sorry, I keep forgetting.
That's
There's a forest cutting plan,
Boy Scouts.
but it's Boyce, is actually,
Yeah.
hold on, does it say?
Yeah, Boy
It's
Scouts.
on Pleasantdale Road, so yeah, okay. Because based on the map that's down below, yes, I know I'm zipping past some useful information.
That's not
Yeah,
useful.
this was hard to read.
Well, this says Oakham State Forest, which is where I started getting very confused about the placement of things.
Oh, yeah.
It said,
The Oakham State Forest,
There's
is,
some of that in Rutland.
that's in
Yeah.
the other
Yeah.
side of the pond.
To the
Yeah.
side,
Yeah.
it says the location is in Rutland off Pleasantdale
Off
Road.
Pleasantdale, but
But I have no idea what parcel it is. I couldn't tell from this.
There's some behind me on 122 that you would never know.
Is it that thicker one in the bottom
this
right?
says East
East Hill Road.
Hill.
East Hill.
East Hill Road.
Is it that one in the bottom right, Peter? Do you
I
see
think
that
you're looking
thicker
over there.
outline?
is what-
Oh, is it over here?
Yeah,
That's the only thing that I could possibly think of.
Because this is
East
highlighted.
Hill, isn't East Hill Road near Prospect Street?
East Hill Road is out by the boat, right?
Not
I
Prospect.
would assume
Yeah.
that would
Yeah.
I think
Oh,
that says
That's
Pleasantdale.
where it is.
Oh, so it is
I
east.
think
You think what says Pleasantdale?
Pleasantdale.
That
would be-
road that goes
Way
right
o-
up and
way
down.
over
The
Pleasantdale's
north-south
over
one.
Yeah, right there.
Yeah.
That's
Oh,
Pleasant.
is that Pleasantdale?
Yeah, it's
That's a.
No.
No,
No.
that's a.
keep going to your right,
no,
Peter.
the,
What's
no,
that
up
road?
and down, straight up and down.
Bottom to top.
Straight,
No,
no,
To your right.
to the right.
To your right,
Higher.
right
up and
there.
down.
Higher.
Oh, Pleasantdale.
Yeah, there it is.
Hey, I found Pleasantdale. Good for me.
So I think it is
With
the,
enough assistance.
that lot, and there's one that's a little bit further down, it looks like.
Maybe this one, because
I would
isn't that
think so.
near TV2?
Freaking touch screens.
Are we even sure that's in Rutland, or is that the Spencer line?
Around Browning Pond,
Yeah, right around the pond.
that says Oakham right over it.
It does.
Well, Oakham State Forest.
No, when you go down, it's off the screen a little bit further down where the other parcel that looks like it's highlighted literally says
The A and
Oakham
the
right
N.
over it.
Right on it.
Not forest, just Oakham.
Just Oakham.
Yeah. I used to live there, so it's,
Oh, because is that the town line? No, that's just the
No, I
latitude.
don't think so.
This has got to be the town line, right here.
yeah.
This is Paxton. This is Rutland.
I don't know. I don't like black and white topos.
So where are they showing the pond?
It's further down. If I just use my
That's just a wetland.
2 fingers, will it work?
No, I think he's out on that.
Oh gosh, I don't know how to. There's no screen there. I don't know where you are.
Is this is another line. Town
Can
line.
you see?
Oh, here we go.
Oh, there's Browning down there.
Right
Yeah.
here. So it's on the other side.
Isn't that in Spencer?
Yeah, it's at the far end of Browning Pond.
Part of it is.
Part of it.
Yeah.
That's Rockland Road,
Mm-hmm.
okay, which turns into Pleasantdale right over here, right where the town line is.
Yep.
Yeah, so it's gonna be right down by the power station almost.
Oh, actually, so the town line cuts right through the southern parcel,
Mm.
and then the
Oh,
northern
so
one.
it is the dash
The northern
line.
one is just into Rutland.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I
I
just
live
pulled up
right
Browning
here.
Pond on an aerial,
Mm.
actually. Boy, it's really close to the Paxton one, too.
Yeah.
So anyway, there's a forest cutting plan on the SharePoint if somebody's interested.
Thank you.
think.
Peter, did you get my?
Who's actually doing that? Is Brian, is the Boy Scouts doing
Yes,
that?
that's a good thing. Well, we don't need
I
to
don't
talk about
No,
that.
we didn't talk about it.
Gives another
Probably
name,
man
but-
and
Yeah.
man saw it.
Yes, I did see it there. Yeah, we'll talk about that when it's time to approve it in June.
Yeah.
The plan preparer was Gary Goldrip from Ashburnham. We have the name on there.
Doesn't say who's cutting it though.
Don't know.
Probably donating his time to the,
Boy Scouts.
to the scouts.
The harvester section is not filled out yet.
TBA.
Yeah.
PBA.
You can get out and talk to the ranger if you want.
This out of my way over here so that I can pull up our next agenda item. The beginning of the Wetlands Protection Bylaw, kids.
Scary.
I didn't get very far. I took, let me think, Paxton, Hamilton,
They put it under the Massachusetts Constitution, not home rule.
the Home Rule, it's the Home Rule Amendment of the Constitution. Article 89 of
Oh.
the Massachusetts Constitution is the Home Rule Amendment.
Oh, just weirdly put. Okay.
So where was the third site? That's the third town I took it from.
Looks good so far.
I like it.
Looks great.
Done.
Think so, do you? Come on, there we go. So we've already seen Home Rule Amendment, and this is something I see frequently in wetlands bylaws. We are independent of the act,
Mm-hmm. Yep.
although we make references to it a lot.
Mm.
The Commission, the Conservation Commission, shall have authority to enforce this article and may, after notice and public hearing, promulgate regulations to effectuate the purposes of this article.
Okay.
I'm going to skip over definitions, and you'll see why in a few minutes, because in my mind, one of the things I try to do is to make this sentence as short, as simple as possible. Except as provided in, should be this article. Or permitted by the commission, no person shall alter any resource area. And it's all backed up by definitions up above. You know, I've seen these things go on for 12 lines because they put in all the words up front. So we have alter, resource area, and the commission as definitions.
Mm-hmm.
Not surprisingly, the commission is the Conservation Commission. Alter is this whole set of things.
That's a lot.
Mm.
I'll tell you right now, Peter, I like that one.
Yep.
A lot of people miss that.
So if we go back to resource area, again, this is actually a tree of definitions, although it doesn't look that way. A resource area is any wetland resource area, buffer zone, running water resource area, my term, I don't have a problem changing it, I just didn't think of anything else, and riverfront. So we tried to kind of align with the act and its regulations, but that wasn't always easy. So a wetland resource area is,
So if we're calling a buffer zone a resource area, then any project that is in the buffer zone is altering a resource area.
Yeah.
see, this is one of the reasons we go over this.
Buffer zone and resource areas are different
different.
per.
Riverfront is a resource area.
Riverfront is a
but not
resource
buffer
area,
zone.
right, yes.
Interesting. Okay, then we're going to have to do, damn it.
And you have wetland resource area and resource area.
That's right,
Yeah.
because the resource area is the greater list of things that includes the wetland resource area and,
They should be the same.
What should be the same?
resource and wetland resource area, they are the same.
Trying to come up with a term. So
Jurisdictional area.
Yeah,
Or just use
sure.
what's in the WPA,
Yeah,
so that definition holds true throughout this.
So I have this running water resource area definition just to have something that puts a name to perennial rivers, streams, brooks, and creeks, and that's nowhere else that I found as a name for
Well, that's
those.
a riverfront area.
No, the riverfront area
It's
right
perennial
above it
rivers.
is land adjoining that to a distance of 200 feet.
I don't like it.
I've never heard that term, running water
That's not-
resource area.
Because I made it up.
Yeah,
Okay.
because that's not the definition of riverfront area, because not all of those are riverfront area.
Though,
I don't like
I
this.
can only go with the bylaws that I've read. And
I don't like it. I really don't like it. I'm sorry.
This
I really
includes
don't.
Paxton, so
Is it that 200 feet both, each side of the river, or is it 100
Yes.
feet
Yeah.
on each side?
it's 200 feet on each side.
200 feet from,
Yeah.
from.
It is, that's.
I know
Or is
it.
it mean,
No,
mean annual
That's a
high
lot.
water?
Yeah.
that's a lot.
Mean annual high water, which would be on both sides.
but that's
That's law.
law though.
No, I know it. I
I
didn't
think
say
if we
anything. I
can
just said
take-
it's not right, but that's all right.
Oh, yeah.
Definitions and words
No
that
argument
are
there.
already existing within the Wetlands Protection Act, then we should remain consistent with those.
Yeah, if you want to keep it
Too
simple,
many
maybe.
going on here.
All right, I'll throw it away. Fine.
I'm sorry.
No, it's a good start.
No, it's like, I
I
mean,
thought it was very creative.
is this gonna, are you gonna have Tamika put this on the SharePoint?
When we're ready to.
Not that you have access to adjust.
Well, just so we can look at it and
Yeah.
make comments for next time, we might as well.
I wouldn't change anything yet. Let's print
Well-
this thing down and,
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying, if we have a time to just look at this and we can be prepared, having look at the same document coming back.
There are obviously some things where I took in the definitions from other places, and I wasn't certain that fisheries in related water resources does or doesn't belong. And it's not clear that bank does or doesn't belong in the wetland resource area in my definition. So I'm trying to keep the jurisdictional sentence short.
Bank I would get rid of.
fisheries, we may want to make sure we keep that in because we have
I have to
Oh.
go do my
an
job.
aquaculture. We have an aquaculture in town.
The reason I say bank, the reason I said I don't bank is its definition on the rivers and stuff. It's not.
Yeah, I wasn't thrilled with bank because bank is elsewhere also.
Bank can disappear. Fisheries,
Well, bank defines a wetland resource area for a stream or a river.
but
Yeah.
that's a definition of a stream or river.
True.
You don't need it where it is.
That's, yeah,
That's what I'm saying. You should put it somewhere that's broader.
yeah.
Can I get bank? What bank?
You can always put in a broad definition of
Yeah.
as referenced by the WPA, you know.
It's actually the regulations. WPA is very silent on a lot of
That's
this.
true. Most
Yeah,
of it's in
they
the
say
regs.
too many things, and yet they don't say enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, wetland values is actually defined in the purpose. These are the values we're trying to protect from the wetlands that we protect.
Mm-hmm.
Habitat? Is that another one?
That's somewhere, I just don't remember where it is.
I forget too.
In fact, up top, if you go back to the purpose, there ought to be habitat.
Protection of wildlife habitat.
Yeah, that's in the related water resources. So again, I have to rework that, that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
Without, as I said, what I want to get out of this, to make it simple to read, it almost doesn't matter how long definitions are, because everybody ought to skip right over them. I want to make the body of this thing as easy to read as I can. So, yeah, I'll have to tweak some things, fine. This, I think, is the right jurisdiction.
Mm-hmm.
So what's gonna flow after that, after jurisdiction, is exemptions. Whoa, of course you did. With thoughts that I have about stuff that we probably need to have exemptions for.
About the beaver.
Kill it.
What about them? What does that have to do with us?
Beaver dams.
What about them?
What about them? Well, you remove the beaver, if you get a permit to remove the beaver dam, you're gonna be pushing water down the river.
Where it's
Which was
And
probably
change the
going
size.
before the beaver dam was there.
Right, okay.
So it's actually restoring the natural flow of
So that would be an
water.
Well,
exemption. That should be an
there-
exemption.
There are times when we've had to have rulings on that
Yeah.
based on the size of the pond that they generate,
Right.
so that it doesn't cause a destruction.
It has to be released slowly. Right.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
But-
So,
Like we did-
so
like we
let's,
did down-
an exemption would be removal of beaver dams.
Yeah, like we did down on
This
Main
would be
Street.
exemptions to requiring a filing, a permit in order of conditions?
exemptions to our jurisdiction.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Yeah.
So you still know they were doing it, but you.
You gotta go to the Board of Health to get a permit anyway.
Right.
Yeah.
But
You
that's
may
the
wanna-
exemption.
We may want to tie that back to Board of Health, where they give us a notification of a permit. Because
But you
currently
didn't
there's
tell
no
us about
linkage
mine.
there.
If we can do that. The problem is, I don't know that we as an appointed board can have the authority to put a requirement on an elected board.
No. What I'm saying is not a requirement, just a notification.
Yeah, I think a killer
Alright,
would go
so
along
that-
with that.
So that if there is potential impacts by the sudden release, catastrophic type release of a pond that, was originally constructed by the beavers.
I could take out
We've had
Glenwood
to
and
have
Wachusa
input on
Street.
that. I mean, we,
I could take out both of those streets.
yeah,
Oh.
They're behind.
So anyway, after exemptions, and in fact, I'm not sure that we want this to be an exemption, because I think we still want paperwork.
Yes.
yeah.
So they actually aren't, this is not an exemption, that's just a special case.
We could put that up.
Should go somewhere.
Yeah, it needs to be somewhere, I agree.
Yeah, that should be specific because that's a wicked issue in this town.
Yeah. So let's talk about, then there'll be the application, what belongs there, the kinds of applications, all of that. What the submission, oh yeah, in fact, I specifically want to say that,
You can do it.
that we need a submission meeting with the applicant to ensure that it is complete and correct before the clock starts. It's our meeting, it's not clocking in by the town clerk. It's the submission meeting that starts the clock.
Yep.
Yeah.
We'll talk about public hearings and permits and conditions. And I have notes about conditions. We got to see. I'm not sure that all of these belong. They just sort of, it's almost stream of consciousness. Etc. Variances, appeals, emergencies, enforcement, and a new one that I saw somewhere, in one of the bylaws I was perusing, coordination with other boards, which requires communication. And it talks about when you have to talk to the planning board, or send information to the planning board, when it's information to the Board of Health, and anybody else who needs to be involved. So I at least want to take the philosophy of that and codify that to say, we're going to force good communications on ourselves with other boards.
Good
And,
enough.
and that's what we've got so far. I mean, so this is the structure I'm looking for.
Mm-hmm.
If anybody thinks that a big piece is missing, let me know, we'll talk about it. Yes, I will put this up in the SharePoint, but I won't be modifying the SharePoint directly, I'll be modifying my copy on my
Yeah,
computer.
yeah.
Is there a fee schedule involved in this when this gets in?
Actually, that is a
That's
thing I forgot to put in here that I'm not
It
It's-
can go in the regulations.
yeah, it's unclear if it's,
Because, so we can change it.
Okay.
Actually-
I just wanted to know.
no,
because
what we do need,
Is we have a right to impose fees.
yes,
Mhm.
exactly.
Yep.
And
Okay. I know it has to be there. I just
do it
didn't
in
know.
regs, yeah.
Because if you do it in regs, we can adjust.
I
this.
think you still need a section about fees.
Yes, exactly, I'm gonna Probably.
And one ticket book for Melissa.
Maybe right
Hmm?
And a
here.
pink ticket book for Melissa.
Again, just something that says, that allows us to charge reasonable fees for our work. Melissa, you may know this, you may not. Based on reading it, on some of the reading I've done, it sounds like some of the fees are set by the state, like the NOI fee is it, but there are other things we can charge fees for.
We can charge fee for anything.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
like in Southborough, we have our Wetlands Protection Act fee. Yes, you can't touch that. So, the state gets half minus $12.50. We get half plus $12.50. And then other fee schedules, either they have a specific additional fee that's just the town bylaw
Mhm.
fee. So in Southborough, like on some of them, it's equal to the full WPA fee. So like for a new single family home, when it's category 2, $500 for a new house. So we usually get the $262.50, which we still would, but then we would get $500 as the total WPA on top of the $262.50.
Hmm.
So
I know
obviously,
other towns charge for like a COC.
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Right. Yep.
And I charge if it's expired, it's an additional $150 or something. If it's after an enforcement order, then it's double the fee. Things like that. And they go in a revolving fund.
You can even charge for certificates of compliance.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to feed people to death.
What? To
When,
death? No.
when it comes time to have that discussion, we'll have that discussion. I agree that we need a section, and I'm not sure I like where I put it, but
Don't start off with it.
no. Well, again, this will say
Right.
nothing more than we allowed ourselves to charge fees.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
And maybe that'll pay for an agent.
Yeah. Pretty exorbitant fees.
That'd be pretty awesome, pretty awesomely large fees to make that happen. So, as I said, a lot of this is sort of stream of consciousness notes that we want to think about as we start filling these out.
Do we want, on fees, do we want to kind of align with other boards in town?
Yeah, we should definitely look at like similar communities and what they're charging because
I'm talking about other
yeah.
boards in town here,
Oh.
because, you got sewer, or septic,
Well, there's sewer fees, there are septic fees, there are.
street, the driveway fees.
Yeah. I'm not sure how well we could align
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like it's
our
apples
fee
and
structures
oranges.
to what
I
they do,
think-
but we can examine
we
it,
need
we
a-
can examine
I
it.
think we need a feel for
They do.
what it is, number one, and the magnitude, based on value of the property.
And also how long ago the fee
Yeah.
has been in play, well, when the last time it was
Yeah.
changed was. So if something's 10 years out of date,
No, I don't think there's anything that old.
I don't know. I hope that there isn't anything that far out.
I think the last I knew was about 3 years ago we upped them. Maybe it's been sooner than that.
I know the planning board did them fairly recently, because they talked
Theirs,
about that
yeah.
at the last meeting. So theirs are fairly recent.
Yep.
The select boards are recent. But none of them are really apples to apples.
It's not, but again, to Joe's point, to get an order of magnitude.
Yeah, just so we're in the same realm as other
Right, so that we aren't charging $4,000 when somebody else is charging $10.
Good deal.
If we can get it, we'd be able to get our agent.
Yeah.
If we can get it, we should get it.
Uh-oh.
Better hurry up with that submission,
Yeah,
right?
So what happens on, and again, I know this is down the road. So on a big project, well, they go in to clear, they get charged for that, or every individual house lot gets it?
So, like, you're talking about subdivisions?
Subdivision.
So it'd be the same process, like usually it's the roadway and infrastructure gets its own NOI and then each house lot gets individual
Okay.
ones. Cause even if they do it at a big subdivision, the fee is per building, so it doesn't matter either way, it washes out in the end.
Okay.
For money.
I'm just asking.
Yeah.
So the fee is per building, whether they file paperwork for it, building.
And that's how it stands now, yeah. So
Okay.
subdivisions, it'd be for new single-family homes in a subdivision, every single building in the buffer zone that you're permitting is $500 each.
Okay, well, that was my question.
Yeah.
So buildings that are not in the buffer zone,
Do not count.
you're not
Because you're not
getting any-
permitting them,
okay.
yeah.
I just didn't want somebody to come back and argue with us because
Yeah,
we don't
no.
have jurisdiction over something.
Oh, no,
We're
jurisdiction
Trying to get a
lines.
buck out of them.
You could try, I don't think it'd go very well, but
Hey, what's the worst they can do? Say no, right?
say no.
Okay. That's all I got so far. It's a start.
It's a good start.
I don't know, based on the comments, I don't know, it's a good start.
I'm sorry.
It's
There's
a
just
start.
two resource areas going on.
No, I thought that was very creative.
This definitely isn't gonna be ready for January.
May? No.
No.
January?
January 3rd when they
January.
ask.
Oh, no.
January 2024, maybe.
2024. Oh god, that's not that far away, is it? It's a year away.
With some of the stuff we talked about before, like having no disturbance zones and no structure zones and things like that, do those end up in the bylaw or in the regulations?
We want to define the areas that we are regulating, and in the regulation, we say, this is how big the no-touch zone is. This is how big the no-structure zone is.
Okay.
Permanent or whatever.
I usually see those in bylaws.
No, I actually think we should not define, I think that the bylaw should simply say, may regulate an area within the buffer zone through which no buildings, that may not be disturbed without a variance.
Yeah.
And we define how big that is in the regulation, which is why it's important that we have the regulations ready when the bylaw's ready.
I don't like it.
Why?
If we're imposing a strict no touch or no structure zone, that should be in a bylaw clearly defined so that we can enforce the qualifications of, or what they have to meet to get there. I don't know, I think a bylaw is what we're working off of, so a bylaw gives us authority to say there's no work within 20 feet.
But if you put in regulation and there's a different situation for that lot, you can adjust it. If you put it in a bylaw, you can't adjust it.
That's the whole point of it though.
I like
20
that.
foot no touch is a 20 foot no touch. You can get a variance from it, but if you put it in the regulations, there's no way to get a variance because the variance is from the bylaw. From
You
sections
can
of
get
the
variance
bylaw.
from regulations.
Is it a variance or a waiver?
It's a waiver from the bylaw and regulations. So you cite both, but you get your authority from the bylaw. I don't know,
Why would you even, if you establish for argument's sake 20 feet, why would you even worry about variance?
In case there's
existing lot.
existing lot or something that it's the only way they can, it's the only way
There are,
something done.
Yeah.
there are lots that
The
we
one that
know.
Joey just came in with,
Yeah.
certain
Right,
stuff.
but that would be grandfathered anyway.
No,
No,
it's not grandfathered.
he wouldn't be grandfathered.
Each new activity is today's date.
Okay,
So that's what I'm saying,
So if
is it
someone
depends
wants-
where you
yeah.
put it, because if you put it in a bylaw, it's tougher to work with it.
No, it's not. It's the same. It's a waiver no matter what. I think if we're going to impose something like that, that should be very clear in the bylaw.
yeah.
I don't like that we could just willy-nilly change a 20-foot no-touch in a regulation. I don't know. I just don't like that.
I've seen it both ways.
Yeah.
I've seen it in bylaws or ordinances. I was just reviewing them earlier today for a city in Mass, but I've seen them in regulations too. I wonder, like,
Either way, you can adjust it, it sounds.
is there
Yeah.
a legal reason why it should be in one or the other? I don't know.
I think the
can't-
reason
attorneys
Melissa's
are-
saying is she likes it in a bylaw, because that gives it all its teeth.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And we're
There's
being
more teeth in a
upfront.
bylaw than there's in a regulation.
Yeah.
No, that's not true.
No?
No.
We can't
Equal,
have
right?
regulations without a bylaw.
You can't, that's right, but
True.
the regulations have the force of law.
Right.
Yeah.
I was gonna say they're equal, aren't they?
They are
Essentially.
equal.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Regulations, we have more of an ability to
Amend.
change them
Yeah.
if we need
They
to.
are far easier to
Right.
change than bylaws, yes.
Bylaws need town meeting. Regulations just needs a vote of the committee at a regular meeting.
So not that this should dictate where we put things, but if there's something we think someday maybe we'd want to change it, it probably makes sense to put it in the regulations.
Now, speaking of regulations, something that came up with the last time I was dealing with the board, the regulations, the earthworks board, and putting in the bylaw the authority to promulgate regulations. It came up that the then composition of the select board did not like the fact that an appointed board was creating regulations, and so the select board got approval of all earthworks board regulations.
Ooh.
Gee, I missed that one.
But I think it can't apply to us, because we have MGL that says conservation commissions may promulgate regulations.
Yeah, we work under the Conservation Commission Act.
Right, and since the town accepted 8 Charlie, then that's it. It's
Yeah, it's not just
we
town
have the
charter,
authority.
yeah.
Right.
Okay, we'll have to think about that
So
one.
I'm just going to warn you for something that I expect to hear at some point from somebody.
Whatever you do, just don't put this in the zoning code.
Good
Biggest pet peeve, don't put it in the zoning code. It's not a zoning.
Who put it in zoning?
Don't talk about it.
Well, let's talk privately about that. I'd be really interested to know who
Interesting.
was so stupid as to put conservation and wetlands protection in zoning.
I don't know.
Among other things, it requires 2/3 majority to pass and to amend. It's like, ugh, no. But it just doesn't have a place there.
Well, yeah. Don't get me started. We're not going there. I'm done.
All right.
It's probably east of here.
Yeah, that's fair.
Is there
Maybe
any
it was
other
not.
business before the commission?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Clock eye.
Good, Gentilucci, aye.
Lane grenade.
Delco Eye.
Dance eye.
Crane eye. We're adjourned. Thanks everybody at 7:21.
All right.